It's just the latest example in our ongoing investigation, revealing how officers have been able to leave one agency under a cloud of controversy, only to join another.
Here's 7 investigator Ross Jones.
It's 8 o'clock on the morning of December 4th, 2020, and Oakland County Sheriff's Deputy Greg Marone is behind the wheel at the start of his shift.
Tickets at 81.
His dash camera just began recording, not because Marone turned it on, but because he's driving so fast. At more than 90 miles per hour, it kicks on automatically. It's not clear if Marone realized he was being recorded.
Take the next right onto Dutton Road.
Marone is on duty, in uniform, and in his sheriff's vehicle, but this trip is not about police business. Listen as the deputy sends a voice-to-text message from his phone.
I'm going to need a few minutes, or I don't know what, because I need to go to the bank, so it's kind of messed up right now. I have enough to loan you the 100.
He was sending texts to a man he would later admit he'd been purchasing Schedule II narcotics from without a prescription.
Give the money to you tomorrow, I guess, unless you have it or you have the pills already.
Marone admitted to meeting the man on duty in uniform, and the dash cam captured more.
You little evil. Imagine this.
While arranging the meetup, Deputy Marone passes a dark-skinned woman walking her dog and begins hurling racist slurs.
Imagine monkeys. Whatever you are. They get a nice house and they actually think that there's something.
When the sheriff's office discovered the video, they opened an investigation. According to sources, Marone admitted to buying Schedule II narcotics on duty. He said he'd done it before, about 10 different times. Coupled with his racist rant, the sheriff's office moved to fire Marone, reporting to the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards that he resigned in lieu of termination for conduct unbecoming, a warning to any department looking to hire him.
It's a huge red flag. You know, if we saw that, one of our background investigators saw that in their background, we would stop the background and be done with it. We wouldn't even take a chance on it.
They wouldn't, but another department did.
He was a good officer. He treated the people of Holly and the staff here with respect.
Chief Jerry Narsh hired Marone at the Holly PD in March of 2022, without, he admits today, fully understanding just why he left his job with the sheriff. Last July 4th records show Marone arrived for work and appeared unwell. He had extreme difficulties using his police radio, according to an investigation, repeatedly dropped his cell phone, and when he got behind the wheel, couldn't drive faster than 10 miles per hour. Positive for buprenorphine, prescribed to help treat opioid addiction, along with another drug that Holly police would not reveal. They said Marone had prescriptions for both, but hadn't disclosed either. Marone said he was under treatment for medical and sleep conditions and did not wish to harm the department.
Is it ever smart to hire a police officer without knowing exactly why his last department got rid of him?
How could you hire a guy and miss that?
Well, and I think that's what we're trying to fix and resolve, right?
All the praises and the honor goes to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Racha HaKwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to you, brethren, you fellow believers of this faith, this ministry, and shalom to the elect. So anyway, I think I'll make this video kind of short. This is just a quick story that popped up about this police officer who he was kicked out of multiple districts from what I found out, and then the police department just keeps hiring him, and I guess because he's got the face, the look of what the police department stands for. So it's kind of crazy how it's kind of just like the church and the Catholic Church with the popes and what do they call them, the Boy Scouts. All they do is send them, I think, to what they call another parish or another location in their wickedness. So this is why Job 9:24 says the earth is given to the hand of the wicked, right? But you can see the curses are reversed, and let me read that before I go on. Then we're going to go into a definition real quick. Deuteronomy 30:3, it says that then the Lord, no, I'm going to go to 7. right? It says, and the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee, right? And these cops, a lot of them has persecuted Jake. You know, they'll set you up, they'll trump up charges, they'll use your woman against you, right? And then you got the Jake cops who will support them in that. You know, it happened to me. So this is what they do, right? I'm not saying I met some cool cops, but you got the bad in a lot of them. You know, some of them were bullied, right? And they go in there because, you know, they want payback, right? So I remember as a guy when I was in school, and he was kind of always bullied, but I had just moved to the school, and I would sit with him at lunch because I was kind of like new in there, so I was like kind of with the oddballs. You know, I was kind of always with the kind of underdogs, right? But, you know, I carried my own. And, you know, we was cool. I helped him out and everything, but I got locked up. And then I saw him in there. He was like one of those police. And he would be the ones like correctional officer to tell you to squat and all that stuff. And I called him out, you know, told him I knew him and everything. He totally ignored me and said, "You ain't know me. Y'all never liked me in school. Y'all hated me. Y'all treated me like trash. Y'all bullied me." And that wasn't me. But he didn't remember. And that's what happens with a lot of these cops and correctional officers and so forth. They just want payback, right? And some of them are born in that spirit for payback, or to continue what they started in those past lives. So anyway, this cop has thrown out racist chants and saying all these things about so-called blacks, and he said Hispanics, which proves there's a perpetual hatred between Jacob and Esau, right? So he was doing those perpetual, you know, he was doing those chants, right? I hate them, you know, the monkeys, but then he was buying drugs. So how ironic, there's racist cop who has become a drug addict, buying drugs probably from a minority, but then calling them monkeys. When this drug epidemic hit the hood, there was no real concern. Is that they were looked upon as trash, HIV, you were drug addicts and bums. Well, now it's reversing, and it's switching in their communities, in their hoods. They have a serious problem with it. And now they're trying to cover it up, and Becky's and Karen's and John's, right? Now they're seeking help. They got all this counseling for meth addiction, drug addiction, therapy and treatments, psychiatrists. They didn't have all that back in the day when we were just bugged out of our damn mind with those drugs and how messed up we are. And then the police, I witnessed the police plant some drugs he had on a Jake. But those guys are in power. They can do that. That's going to Isaiah 10. Isaiah 10 and 1. We could quote this. Woe to them that give unrighteous decrees. Okay, let me go back and read this. It says, woe unto them that make unjust laws. Right? And not just making the laws, but enforcing unjust laws. Right? Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and their right grievousness which they have prescribed. Pre means under writings, right? So they'll write you a ticket, they'll set you up, right? They'll do all kinds of things. In the so-called law enforcement, you see a lot of Jakes getting shot. You know, Jake, they think have guns, they're getting shot. They're getting laid out like that airman, which he should have never came to the door with a gun. If you look at the story with the airman in the Air Force, he comes to the door with the police, and the police, he had a gun in his hand. The police just lit him up, then told him to drop the weapon. Right? But I guess he thought that, hey, since I'm one of you guys, I'm military, I'm over the police. He fought all that time or flew in the military just to come home and get shot by a damn cop. But you know damn well if there was blonde hair and blue eyes, and we don't go on color because some Israelites look like that. But the racist mindset of this man is not that smart, right? He's not, Americans are not intelligent. They don't understand true history. They just keep a legacy going, right? So they don't understand that some of them white people, even Israelites, they don't understand some white people may very well, because they're white, has nothing to do with the spirit. They very well may be the ends that they talk about, you know, the monkeys that they talk about, right? So anyway, unrighteous decree, that decree goes to the word of statute, right? So when you go to the statute, it's the law of the land, a ruler, decree, statute, law, a decree, basically an order. And they're pushing blood laws, you know, draconian laws, right? I'm making this quick. I just wanted to do this for the intro. I'm just speaking real quick. A condition, a position from a stare, right? And it goes back to statute, which goes to statutory, which was used pertaining enactment, right? This is where you get the term statutory rape, right? It says sexual intercourse with a female below the legal age of consent, whether forced or not. So if the legal age of consent is 16 and a man is 20, in certain states they have different ones, he is now the criminal, not the woman who seduced him, or the young woman, because that's what it is, a young woman who seduced him to do it. But this same young woman goes out and shoot and stab her grandma up. They're going to see her as fit to stand trial, or they're going to see her as a legitimate adult. It's crazy how they flip on and off laws to make fit their agenda. I was just looking at a story, which I was going to do, but I said I'd let it go, where this man's woman, she was going into she wanted to go into a strip club to get a drink, right? But they said she was 19, she wasn't old enough to drink. So they said if she wanted to come in, she could sign up to be a stripper. So she signed up to go be a stripper, although she couldn't drink. And she went in there and became a stripper, and then her husband dragged her out of there, and they locked her husband up and threw him in a car. This is what we talk about, unrighteous decrees, right? So this very woman that didn't know what she was doing got persuaded to kill somebody. So in other words, what they're saying is, as long as she takes somebody's life, she knows what she's doing. But if she lays down on her back and a man lays on top of her and lays with her, she never knew what she was doing. It's his fault now. So you can see why the laws are all screwed up. But if she want to change her identity, sexual nature, she can still do that because she knows what she's doing. So the question is, if she's 16 years old or 15 years old or 14, and young man is 16 years lay down with her, obviously it's still legal. When does it become illegal when she lay down? What is the difference between if she lay down with a 16-year-old male and a 21-year-old male? Although not forced, she still was in agreement to it. When did it become an issue? It's kind of crazy how the women, as they say, I don't want to stay on this topic, but how they say women, right? They have their own minds. They have their own intelligence. They're lifted up and they're equal. But when it comes to stuff like this, they're not equal. They're vulnerable. They're 14 years old. They lay with a 19-year-old. He's going to jail for something that was natural and something that there's nothing actually wrong with. So that's the decrees. And this is why these police, they got to uphold these unrighteous decrees. And then a lot of them, they're pushed into getting them a certain amount of tickets, right? They got a quota to meet. And the prey is you jakes. They have something on Tuesdays called Black Tuesdays. When I was getting locked up back in the day, they had something called Black Tuesdays. And what they would do is go out and find every so-called black man they can and lock them up. And I would sit there and hear the wagons backing up, unloading Jake all day long. And a lot of them was unauthorized arrest, including myself. So I don't feel sorry for these cops, man. I don't feel sorry. And I'm saying those ones that's wicked like that, man. Of course, the society need a police force, right? But I don't feel sorry for this that cop right there, man. He's racist as hell, but he's a drug addict. So he's very well entangled in the same stereotype that he's supposed to be so-called against, right? Anyway, that's all I have on that. Shalom.